All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into what has to be the most hilarious glitch in the matrix of modern capitalism. Look, for our entire lives, we've been spoon-fed this idea that hard work is the engine of society, right? But as this massive AI takeover looms over us, we are facing an incredibly sarcastic plot twist. The absolute only way to save our economy from totally imploding might just be for the government to pay you to sit on your couch and do absolutely nothing. So let's dive into this bizarre capitalist paradox. So let's kick things off with the ultimate macroeconomic facepalm of the AI era. We spend all this time sweating over whether ChatGPT is going to steal our coding jobs or write better passive-aggressive emails than us, but we're completely ignoring the golden rule of economics. Infinite supply is literally useless if there's no consumer demand. Think about it. If a giant factory of robots pumps out 1 million shiny new gadgets a day, but the humans who used to work there are now completely broke, who on earth is buying the gadgets? And that brings us to this comparison. AI is the ultimate, annoyingly perfect overachiever. It grinds 24/7, never complains, and needs zero salary. But here is the massive catch. It is a spectacularly terrible consumer. Generative AI is never going to buy a $5 iced latte. It's not going to impulse buy ridiculous sneakers on Instagram at 2 a.m., and it's sure as heck not paying for a Netflix subscription. It's us, humans, with all our flaws and our need for frequent bathroom breaks. We are the actual engines of consumption. Now, you might think this is just some cheeky internet theory, but no. Take a look at this quote from George Saravelos over at Deutsche Bank. He points out that when an AI machine can just autonomously think, produce, and iterate, it actually becomes the capital and the labor force all at once. When that happens, the foundational structures of classical economics just literally break down. The value of human work drops to zero, and traditional capitalism basically gets the blue screen of death and has to reboot. Which leads us to the real plot twist of the AI revolution. Academics like to politely call this the demand-side constraint. I think a much better, more accurate name for it is the demand-side death spiral. It basically boils down to a super simple 4-step recipe for total disaster. Step 1, companies replace human jobs with AI because it saves them a ton of money. Step 2, human wages totally plummet because, well, nobody's hiring humans anymore. Step 3, since humans are now broke, nobody's buying all those ridiculously cheap goods the AI is pumping out. And step 4, the economy crashes. It's just the ultimate irony, isn't it? We finally achieve infinite productivity, only to completely bankrupt ourselves because we automated away our own customers. Now, check out this beautifully complicated diagram from recent economic research. It maps out exactly what happens when unrestrained AI job displacement hits the market all at once. It triggers this crazy self-reinforcing cycle. AI capital replaces labor, which crushes real household income, which then kills consumer demand, and that leads to even fewer jobs, massive inequality, and, generalized societal chaos. It is quite literally a loop of doom. For centuries, classical economists just leaned heavily on this thing called Say's law, which essentially claimed that supply automatically creates its own demand. They always assumed markets would just magically self-repair. But honestly, if tech drastically outpaces our human ability to adapt and actually find new ways to earn a paycheck, this old law becomes nothing more than a sarcastic punchline. All right, so moving on to part 1, taxing the AI toasters. Let's look at how we actually fund the future. So, how exactly do we fix a system that is busy automating itself into a black hole? Well, if AI is going to do all the heavy lifting, AI needs to step up and pay the taxes. Seriously, we absolutely have to figure out a post-labor tax system. And from Bill Gates to top global economists, the consensus is really building that we have to get creative and start taxing algorithms. There are proposals flying around everywhere right now. Things like taxing companies based on how many humans they replace, slapping massive taxes on AI profits, forcing big tech to pay out technological dividends, or even taxing the commercial use of our personal data. Because, let's be real, we have to replace the lost income tax from human workers somehow. Of course, if you pitch the concept of a robot tax to the general public, it sounds totally absurd. It's naturally led to some brilliant sarcasm online, like this Reddit user joking about algorithms unionizing, forming picket lines, and demanding a 40-hour work week with guaranteed bathroom breaks. But honestly, behind all the cheeky jokes, the economic necessity here is dead serious. Because when you actually look at the math, it is terrifying for governments. Think about it. Humans are fantastic taxpayers. We pay payroll taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, property taxes, the whole shebang. Meanwhile, an AI server rack chilling in a mega warehouse pays absolutely nothing. Zero. So every single time a tax-paying human gets replaced by some shiny new lines of code, the government loses the cash it desperately needs to fund schools, fix potholes, and keep the lights on. Which brings us nicely to part 2, free money. Let's see how we might actually save capitalism from itself. Enter Universal Basic Income, or UBI. Now, we really need to completely reframe how we look at this idea. This isn't just government charity. It's basically capitalism's emergency parachute. By definition, UBI is just an unconditional, regular cash payment given to literally everyone. No strings attached. And in an AI-dominated world, getting this kind of government survival money might be the absolute only pragmatic way to ensure people have enough cash in their pockets to keep buying the iPhones, the sneakers, and all those endless subscription services the tech billionaires are so desperately trying to sell us. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds ridiculously expensive. Where's the money coming from? Well, a really fascinating recent study out of Carnegie Mellon actually ran the numbers on this. They found that even in a total worst-case scenario where absolutely zero new jobs are created, AI only needs to become about 5 to 7 times more productive than current pre-AI automation to easily fund a UBI equivalent to 11% of the entire GDP. We literally don't even need some super intelligent sci-fi conscious AI to pull this off. And the policy levers to make it happen are completely within reach right now. The research proves the math actually works today. If governments just tweak the public revenue share, meaning if they manage to capture just a third, so 33% of AI capital rents and profits through taxation, it actually halves that capability requirement. We can fund massive social transfers just by forcing the hyper-profitable AI sector to give a fair slice of the pie back to the public. And here's the kicker. Even the architects of our automated doom, or, utopia, depending on your vibe, are agreeing with us. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI himself, has explicitly suggested that once AI produces most basic goods and services, we need to set up a massive global fund, a fund that taxes capital and land, and then just distributes the dividends to every single individual. Honestly, when the guy who is actively building the job-destroying machine is telling you that you're going to need a government dividend, yeah, you should probably listen. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. Paying unemployed people to literally not work isn't just some utopian hippie pipe dream. It's a hardcore, unavoidable economic necessity. UBI sustains consumer demand, it prevents those severe recessionary doom loops we talked about, and it stabilizes a super fragile society that might otherwise, completely riot when unemployment skyrockets. It's the ultimate survival buffer we need to get through this massive technological upheaval. So I'm going to leave you with this totally provocative thought. As AI completely masters the art of working, coding, and creating, getting paid by the government to simply exist, hang out on your couch, and just be a good little consumer might actually become your most vital economic duty to the world. So, are you ready to make doing absolutely nothing your full-time job? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.